Here are two new Lipos 2S for 2017 released by Nosram, and they also be released by LRP in the blue finish. I've got two here to test. I've got the 5500 and the 6400. They're both narrow or low center of gravity types. You can look at the spec. The 6400 says it's a LCG, low center of gravity stock spec. It's rated at 120C/60C continuous. They call it the high voltage LiPo, i.e. it can be charged to 7.6 volts, but we'll be charging for 7.4 volts, the normal accepted for racing. And the 5500, also called the ultra low center of gravity, extra code P5-HV, 120C, 60C as well, HV LiPo 7.6 volts. Also narrow. Now I've just got the one just charging up here. That's the 6400, and I'm going to test them as usual. Charge them at 10 amps and then put them straight on the discharger. It's just finished charging now, so I'll take that straight off, put it on the discharger, measure the voltages under load, the 0.2 ohm load, which starts off about 35 amps or whatever, and then drops to over 30 amps. I can also record the time if necessary, measure the temperature at the end, and then cycle if necessary. Now, one thing I'll mention about this 5500, it's very unusual. I haven't come across another one quite the same. It's very lightweight. I've measured the weights here. That only weighs 233 grams. Now, I've tested a lot of LiPos, but I haven't got one that light at such a high current rating. I've got a fairly lightweight one, 247 grams, which was a 5200. By Intellect, but it was only a 50C. Now the other one, the 6400, weighs 277 grams, and the nearest one I can find to that is this Intellect 6000 LIHV, which is that one, which is new for 2017. Weighs about the same. It's rated also at 120C, and I've done the voltage tests on that. So all I need to do now is cycle if necessary, do one or two discharges to make sure the results are correct, and compare. For instance, so this one, the voltages are very good, but the capacity was not good. It's 6000, could only get under 5500 milliamps when charged to 4.2. If I charged it to the proper high voltage they want, 4.35, I expect it would give 6000 milliamps. I can measure the temperature at the end and try and measure the internal resistance, so that is not it varies, and it's not an indication of the exact performance of the cell. I've also found a new Aramax battery for 2017, brand new one. It's 5200, low profile, 7.4 volts, so they don't say it's a 7.6. It's 130C, 65C. It's called the Graphene Pro. I've done a couple of measurements on it. It's 276 grams, so it's we can compare it directly to the Nosram 6400, that one there, which I've just tested, and it's 23.2 millimeters thick, so it's slightly thicker than the Nosram, which is 22.5. It's got 5 millimeter connectors, and I've just done discharged this up. I've cycled it once to make sure the readings are correct. I'm just going to run it through on the discharger again. Went up to about 783 to start with, and it's holding it at 783, which is impressive. And let's see how it gets on through the discharge. The Aramax 5200, just coming to the end of the discharge. Just made over 5,000, 5022. Only about 25 degrees centigrade. And the internal resistance looks like about 0.6 milliohms, 0.59. I've got the Nosram 6400 straight off the charge at 10 amps. It's ambient in here. It's about 21 degrees, so it's not heated up. So we're going to put it straight on the discharger and measure all the voltages, and I can put the timer on if necessary as soon as I start it. It's managed to go to 7.83, then it's dropped straight away to 7.76, and then the next measurement I'll do will be at 600 milliamps. I've started the stopwatch as well to see stopwatch is running, and see how long I can show you how long it takes to do the test as well. Just coming up to the end of the charge on the Nosram 6400. We stop it at 6 volts. It's been going nearly 12 minutes. Voltage just falling 6.1, 6.0. It made, we stop it at 11:55 say, and it made 5,928 milliamps. Temperature about 34 degrees. And it's a very low internal resistance, which says about 0.34 milliohms. The Nosram 5500, ambient temperature 19 degrees C. .7, drop into 7.63. Nosram 5500, end of charge, stop it at 6.00. There, stop the stopwatch. Made 4,760, 9.5 minutes, say 9 minutes 35 seconds to discharge it, and temperature is 29.5 degrees C. Internal resistance is pretty low. It's reading about 0.65. I've completed all the tests on the new Nosram batteries, and also on this new Aramax Graphene Pro battery, and I've collated all the results. Now, rather than go through all the results, because it's quite a long sheet of all results for all the batteries I've been testing, I've summarized the results on this sheet here, and brought together the batteries that are most interesting and the ones that give the best performance. I'm talking about best performance for say blinky racing in touring cars, 17.5 and 13.5 turn, where voltage is everything to get performance. For modified and boosted types of racing, the capacity and weight might be more important than the actual high voltage obtained under load. Anyway, looking at the results, we're going to want the battery that gives the best voltage under load. Now, I've divided up the results into 3 weight categories. These ones up here are over 300 grams, and I've got some around 270 grams. I've got a couple of lightweight ones I've tested. Now all the relevant results I've reduced down to just some most relevant results. Now first of all, at the top here I've put the best battery that I've tested as far as voltage under load, and it came out to be the Intellect 8400, a very heavy battery, 332 grams. I've also made a couple of notes here that these are the new types that can be charged at 7.6 volts, but all these have been charged at 7.4 volts. Now when you race your car, you will be drawing up to 2000 to say 3000 milliamps in a 17.5 and a 13.5 turn. So and at the start of the race I've got a voltage figure as well. So these three voltages are going to be looking at as the most interesting, and also I've made a few other notes about the actual capacity. So this one, the 8400, is the best one under load. 600 milliamps, it got 7.63 volts, and at 2 amp hour 7.4 and 3 amp 7.31, which is like the end of the run between 2 and 3. The actual capacity at 6 volts was measured at 7,680 milliamps. If it had been charged at 7.6, it probably would have got near 8,400. I've also measured the IR, internal resistance. This is only an indication. It's not an exact figure that you can work out the power of the battery, because it does seem to vary a lot and it's quite difficult to measure. But I've made a note of that as well. Measured after the battery's discharged hot. I put most of the batteries were about 30 odd degrees after discharging. So that is the benchmark of the best battery voltage. If you could take that weight, 332 grams, the biggest battery, 8400, would maintain the highest voltage under load. Now these other ones around 300 grams, I've got the best ones I've tested this year, Aramax 6000 and the Phantom 6200. There's the Phantom 6200. I haven't got the other Aramax one here, I've got a 5200 there. Anyway, look at the weights, 313, 306. Now the claimed C rating, which you would think was an indication of the power delivery, 120 C on the Intellect, 130 continuous 65 bursts, 100 C's. Well, Phantom, depending on what you read on their site, they say 160 amps continuous and 100 C bursts, but I think that seems very optimistic. So I've written down 160. Now looking at the voltages at 600 milliamps, these two actually 7.7 volts are better than the 8400, but 2000 they've dropped below it, 7.37, 7.24. Actual capacity, Aramax is a 7.4 volt battery, not 7.6 as is the Phantom, so they managed to hit their capacities, 6,000 over 6,300, over 6,200. Now they're quite heavy. Going down here to the Intellect 6000, Nosram 6400 and the Aramax 5200, I found were the three best batteries I tested in this weight category, all very similar weight, 270 odd grams. 120 C rating on those, 130 on the Aramax. Voltage at 600 milliamps. You can see 769, 777, almost identical, 731 almost identical, and just at the end at the 3 ampere hour range, Nosram just managed to keep a little higher voltage. I did cycle these batteries and test them more than once just to make sure that the figures are about correct. Capacity wise, the Nosram, all these were these two were 7.6 volts, high lithium high voltage batteries. The Aramax is still rated at 7.4 volts and only a 5200 capacity, so but you can see it didn't quite make 5200, it made just over 5000. This nearly made 6000 and this was 5500, and the voltage at the end of the run, the Nosram was slightly better. internal resistance, well, on the meter, as I say, that 0.34 milliohms on my meter, but other charges, other meters on charges, etc., read probably higher, and other figures. So those are one category, two category, and just before I give you a recommendation, looking at some very lightweight batteries, I had two. I've got an Intellect 5200 that weighed 247 grams, a Nosram 5500 that only weighed 233 grams. Now, interestingly, the Intellect one is a lithium high voltage 7.6, and this is a 7.6. Only rated at 50C. This one is, the Nosram is still rated at 120/60C. And you can see, just showing that the voltage will vary if you buy a cheap battery, and you won't get the power. The Intellect, only 50C, the voltages are pretty low. And then this Nosram, also lower than the bigger batteries. Actually showed up, internal resistance was quite high on the Intellect. Now, putting all this together and making a recommendation, well, you might want to do it by weight, you might want to do it by capacity, or you might want to do it by voltage. But there's another thing you can consider is the actual cost. Retail in the UK at the moment, the Intellect's £73, these two are £85. So unless you wanted that massive capacity, you might well buy this one, the Phantom. It's cheaper, but not cheaper, it's lighter in weight, £85, same voltage, capacity very similar. Moving on to this category, which is probably the most popular one, around this 270 odd gram. They're very similar indeed. Nosram seems slightly better, but looking at the price, Nosram £80, Intellect £70, Aramax £68. So you might consider buying the cheaper one, the Arrowmax. And finally, if you want a really cheap battery, although the Intellect was the worst, it was only £38 compared to £70 for the Nosram. Well, those are state of play of batteries for 2017 that have come out so far. They're all the best ones I've been able to test. I'm sure there are others, and there may be others coming out. So I hope that gives you some idea of the differences in batteries and what you expect to get for your money.